Welcome to week 3. This week we're going to discuss the human resource management, especially with the labor union versus labor management. The objectives of this week is to understand and describe the history of labor movement, to differentiate the power struggle between the organized labor and the labor management, and finally to take what we learned and apply to our current workplace. There's some resources, articles, and books that were included in this week could help you to explore further. First, let's take a look at the history of organized labor. In the late 1800s, there was a conflict between workers and factory owners, became frequent and violent. 1892, during the Homestead strike that took place at the Carnegie Steel Company. 1894, another major strike at the Pullman sleeping car manufacturing in Chicago that led to the National Railroad strike. Between 1865 and 1918, there was a massive immigrants, about 27.5 million, that came to the U.S. and looked for work. Between 1881 to 1900, on the average, about 35,000 workers lost their lives per year. In 1902, during the anthracite coal strike that led to the decision of President Teddy Roosevelt to force the mine owners to settle with workers. What happened during the Great Depression period? On July 5, 1935, the Wagner labor relation was signed into law. This was actually a turning point in the American labor history. The National Labor Relations Board was also established to enforce this Wagner Act. In 1947, Congress amended the Wagner Act with the Taft-Hartley Act to restrict the activities and the power of union. Labor union versus labor management. What do labor unions want? The organized labor was designed to protect workers from wage cuts, layoffs, and firings. They can go on strike when it's necessary. They want to protect the working conditions of the workers from long hours and safety. On the other side, the labor management of the business owners, they want more flexibility to compete within their industry. They want to be able to cut wages, firings, and hirings when needed. They want the wage reduction because that could maximize their profits and the bottom lines. Why is organized labor still needed for today? In today's workforce, there's only 11.8% American workers are actually union members. In the private sector, there's only 6.9%. Almost non-existent in the southern states with the right to work law that passed in these states. What will happen without organized labor? Workers can lose rights to bargain the pay and benefits. The inequality continues to grow. According to the two economists, Robert Gordon and Ian Dubecker, they found the wealthiest 10% received 33% of the national personal income. Professor Sylvester Petro wrote a book about Power Unlimited, the corruption of union leadership. This is an interesting study that found how government advertently and inadvertently armed the organized labor with special privilege. Those unlimited power that led to inevitable corruption, union leadership. Those privileged unlimited power were also the reason for the wholesale invasion of gangster, extortionists, racketeers, and all sorts of bad actors that discovered by the McClellan Committee. At the end of this week, here are the 3 questions that could help you to study further. Look at your current workplace and find out if it's union or non-union established. Do you personally wish if it was unionized, and why? Explain the pros and cons of the Wagner Labor Relations Act. And finally, is there a need for organized labor in today's workplace, and why?